I find the level of hypocrisy practiced by the so-called scholars of Mohammedan Islam not only abysmal, but also disturbing, since these scholars are supposed to be the harbingers of truth and historical facts. What is your opinion?
What you have just said is not only disturbing, but also frightening, since they are doing so in spite of the incredible ease with which people are able to investigate on the internet any and all subjects known to mankind at the click of a mouse. It is frightening because they are deceiving new generations of the followers of Muhammad into believing their falsehood and mendacities, while forbidding them from studying any other scriptures beyond the Quran. They are forbidden from reading these other scriptures, lest they are then able to compare and contrast them with the utterly false Quranic versions, thus inducing in their minds the beginnings of doubt. Doubt would make people think, investigate, and question even more. These intellectual exercises are expressly forbidden in Muhammad's Quran for the very exact reason that Muhammad did not want anyone to ask him questions that he could not possibly have logical answers for. Neither the pagan Quraysh nor the Judaized Arabs accepted his version of Islam, and when they questioned him about the differences between the biblical versions of events and his, he became upset, angry, and full of ignorant replies. His anger was precisely because he could not answer the questions truthfully, simply because his versions of events were entirely invented by him as he went along. All those who deceive and lie exhibit the same symptoms of agitation and upset whenever they are found out. Muhammad did not want his followers, or anyone else for that matter, to ask questions that he could not possibly answer satisfactorily. To eliminate such an event from ever happening, he created the following verse ayah, and as usual ascribed it to the unsuspecting Allah, hence making it a divine and inviolate ordinance. Al-Ma'idah 5.101. O ye who believe, ask not questions about things which, if made plain to you, may cause you trouble. But if ye ask about things when the Quran is being revealed, they will be made plain to you. Some people before you did ask such questions, and on that account lost their faith. Ladies and gentlemen, can any believer listening to this chapter explain why, if a question is answered clearly, would cause the questioner trouble? If so, why would the next verse assert that the Quran would make it clear? It is obvious that one is asking a question precisely because the Quran has not made it clear in the first place, and hence requires a proper answer. Sahih al-Bukhari Hadith 2.555, narrated by Ash-Shabi. Muawiyah wrote to Al-Mughira bi Shu'bah, write to me something which you have heard from the Prophet. So Al-Mughira wrote, I heard the Prophet saying, Allah has hated for you three things. 1. Vain talks. 2. Wasting of wealth. 3. And asking too many questions in disputed religious matters. Sahih al-Bukhari Hadith 9.394, narrated by Abu Musa al-Ashari. Allah's Apostle was asked about things which he disliked, and when the people asked too many questions, he became angry. Sahih al-Bukhari 4.73, narrated by Abdullah bin Abu Awfa. Allah's Apostle said, know that paradise is under the shades of swords. He then said, O Allah, the revealer of the holy book, the mover of the clouds, and defeater of Al-Ahzab, defeat them infidels and bestow victory upon us. Muhammad and his Quran never miss an opportunity to show their warmongering, hate-filled and abominable natures in hundreds of verses wishing death, destruction, plundering or subjugation on most of humanity unless and until they believe in Allah and in Muhammad as the messenger of Allah. There is absolutely nothing in the Quran which shows a path to true salvation or redemption, especially since all of Allah's creation is predestined and has no free will or choice. Sahih al-Bukhari 4.210, narrated by Salim Abu al-Nadir. Once Allah's Apostle waited till the sun had declined, and then he got up among the people and said, O people, do not wish to face the enemy in battle and ask Allah to save you from calamities. But if you should face the enemy, then be patient and let it be known to you that paradise is under the shades of swords. According to the Muhammadan Muslim traditions, all of Muhammad's so-called battles, actually piratical raids for plunder, were holy. Even Muhammad's paradise is subject to the tyranny and terror of swords, the symbols of death and destruction. There is not an iota of spirituality, of mercy or compassion in the whole of Muhammad's Quran or the Hadiths.